I remember the tourist trucks were passing by. As the guy passed by, he stopped in front of the restaurant and he goes, "I'll give you your history for a free meal." So I was like, whatever. I called him on the challenge, and he gave me the rundown on how Arabs came to Atlantic Avenue, how little Syria in the World Trade Center, before the World Trade Center was even there, was an area called Little Syria, where the Syrians all owned that whole Wall Street area. And when they came in and they started, Wall Street they started buying out for the World Trade Center and all that, the Syrians started to sell their places and move to Atlantic Avenue. They were the originators who brought all the Arabs into Atlantic Avenue. And then after that, the Yemenis followed because, they felt comfortable with other Arabs. My name is Sadiq Muthannan Asr Hatem. I'm the owner of Yemen Cafe, passed down from my dad. The name of the restaurant is Yemen As-Sa'id, also known as Yemen Cafe. The restaurant was started as more of a social club for Yemenis to meet. There weren't that many Yemenis in the early 80s, late 70s. There's probably a handful. And this was one place where they would come and get together and talk about situations or problems. But when Yemenis started coming from Yemen, they didn't have anywhere to go, and they would give them the business card to the restaurant, and they would come here, and we would give them a place to stay and a place to, like a job and to eat and get them on their feet. So growing up, I remember I had to share my bedroom with a bunch of people we didn't know. It was an experience. Don't get me wrong, when you're a kid and you have somebody sleeping over your house, and I'm like, oh no, we can't play video games today type situation. But no, they were really awesome, nice people.
There's always a difference with Middle Eastern cuisine. I don't know why, but you just taste the love. When my father and his friends first opened up the store, there was days where my whole family in here was helping him out, My dad would be running the floor, my mother would be in the kitchen cooking. They'll have a shortage of workers, so I'll probably be in the kitchen cleaning dishes. My name is Ali Muhammad. The name of my business is Your House Cafe. It'll be like in Arabic. And my position in this business is I am the owner. Most of these businesses are either run by families or friends or a group of people that got together that bust their ass day in and day out to make a living. But around 2017, business was a little slow and they were selling. At that point, I just graduated from college with a bachelor's in business management. And I saw opportunity. So I bought the store from them, did some changes, and here we are, 5 years later.
I swear, it was good that way. Man, you destroyed my whole thing. It was good.
Almost wake up every day, come here.
It's okay, I like it to smoke it that way.
Yeah.
And why are you gonna move around? It's stuck.
I was born and raised in Egypt. My father came out here by himself, and he was a taxi driver for like 15 years. And it was my immediate family back home, my mother and my brother and my two sisters. And we came out here when I was 8. Going from a third world country to coming here is a big difference. Going to college out here, meeting a bunch of new faces, and just making something out of myself. Honestly, that's what really that's what does it for me.
Difficulties that I faced growing up. Keeping up with two cultures. I was born and raised in America, and keeping the Yemeni culture. My dad was very keen on that. He would send us to Yemen every year. Even my uncle would send his kids to Yemen just to make sure that the culture was there. And it's a clash when you were born and raised in America, and the culture in Yemen is completely different. So it's an experience. Growing up, I appreciate it now, I understand it now, I'm happy about it. I'm glad that we have a culture over there where I could go back to and, experience it, and the roots of where we came from, and, our family tree, and then after that come back here, and, it's a new culture that we're getting into, and, understanding. So, growing up, I feel I'm happy about it, but as a kid, it was hell.
Oh man, what difficulties haven't I faced? From, shortage of workers to COVID to, slow days, hasn't been busy all the time. there's days where, you know, you gotta work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day just to keep things afloat. And, you know, just to keep pushing forward. It's really what it comes down to. I bought the store a couple months prior to COVID. And I had a staff of 4 or 5 workers. And then when COVID hit, I only had 2 workers. And the bills were still coming in. I had to pay rent. But, you know, everything was closed for a good amount of time. A friend of mine owned the warehouse in Sunset Park. And he rented it out to me for $250 a week, I think I was paying. So what I did was I took a bunch of the hookahs from here and a bunch of the equipment that I need to like make drinks and whatever food I can make. And I took it to the warehouse and I had like an underground hookah lounge type of thing going. I did keep it as safe as possible. COVID tests were mandatory at the door, and I had a thermometer at the door, so I had to make sure everybody was good before they walked in. Like I said, I had to pay bills, and I spent a good amount of money on the store, you know, taking it over and redecorating and stuff. It hurt to be closed down for 6 months after that. It was just like the biggest slap in the face. So I had to do what I do and opened up an underground hookah lounge, and I ran it for a couple months. It was enough to pay the bills. I made no profit whatsoever. I just made enough money to pay the bills off and pay rent off, and that's all I was looking to do.
I think there's only 2 times where we shut down the restaurant. And for downtown, I think the first time was September 11th. That caused a major issue being downtown. I think the news companies were saying that there were people on Atlantic Avenue dancing and, you know, having fun. And a lot of the businesses, including Oriental, were approached by people. I remember us coming out of the restaurant one time, and it was me and my brothers and my uncles. And we actually walked up to Yesen, God rest his soul, and he was arguing and almost fighting with one of the people there. Like there was some guy, he wanted to know what they had, what Oriental had on their sign, and he started yelling and screaming, and we came in to see what the situation was, and then after that those teenagers ended up getting in their cars and leaving. But yeah, that was the situation. Believe it or not, after that situation, after the whole September 11th, a lot of people started opening up more to find out about the cultures, about Islam, about, you know, and they realized that, you know, it's not bad at all. And people coming to experience, you know, open-minded people would come to the restaurant and ask questions, and they'll walk out, you know, with a little bit of ease in their heart, you know. So that was a great accomplishment. Like when they came in and they had questions, we were there to answer them. You know, there's a lot of people who were confused about it, especially that time with the media and the way they, you know, portrayed us. The second time is during COVID. Not this restaurant, the restaurant downtown. It was an issue where we had to shut down the restaurant for a good, I think, 2 or 3 months. We started feeding the first responders. So we would gather up as much food as possible, and we'll take it to the hospitals, we'll take it to the shelter, we'll take it to just people in need. When people found out what we were doing, what they started to do is they started to donate whatever it is, 100 dishes to the hospital over here in Lutheran, or, you know, donating it to the Coney Island Hospital or Long Island College Hospital, and that's how it went.
When the business was running before I was involved, the pay wasn't as good, and that would also lead to workers, you know, walking out or finding a different job for themselves, which is understandable. You know, if you can go somewhere else and make more money, why not? That, I feel like that's one of the holes that I had to close up, which was pay everybody more, make sure everybody's happy, because any small business owner knows, you know, all the work that you do behind closed doors is a lot of work, but what really runs the business is the workers. You know, without the workers, you can't have a fully functioning business that runs well. As long as you make sure your workers are happy and they're compensated fairly, they're going to work like it's their business, you know? And I love that.
It's a lot of Arabs, a lot of Arab stores. So it's just, you know, we're from Egypt. It makes you feel like, you know, we're back home and chilling in the neighborhood.
Do I feel welcome in the culture? Absolutely. It's a place where, again, you see someone, you just strike up a conversation with them.
I just moved here back in September. So I didn't go out much at first, but when I did, it was here. I think this was the first place I came to actually, like Arab feeling place.
The way I see it is, food is the universal language. You could put a dish in front of anybody and they'll taste it, and you could hate each other. And if they like the dish in front of them, you'll sit down and have a nice conversation with them and just, you'll forget about those issues for a bit. And I think that's how it works out.